Coming up on WUFT Midday, extreme weather conditions are affecting Americans from the north to the south. We'll tell you how bushfires in Long Island and red flag warnings in the southwest are impacting citizens.
And with looming tariffs and economists warning of possible recession, Congress has a tight deadline to pass a bill for Friday.
70 million Americans are being impacted by digestive issues. We'll tell you about ways you can treat these symptoms and to prevent further diseases.
Watching WUFT Midday.
The UF weather radar showing strong storms are moving out of north central Florida this noon hour after dropping several inches of rain in our area. Strong winds are following the storms that spawned some tornado warnings in our area this morning. This is WFT Midday. I'm Krystal Felix.
And I'm Madison Ginsberg. The sun has already started shining in Gainesville. We begin with WUFT's meteorologist William Maxham live in the weather studio, tracking the front and what you can expect for the rest of your work week.
Yeah, guys, things are improving. We're seeing showers kind of moving out of the area. We still have some lingering pockets of some moderately heavy rain across southeastern portions of Marion County, headed up to around Crescent City, just north of Daytona Beach. This is the area we've seen some pretty strong thunderstorms earlier in the day, and around Palatka. That's where we had a tornado warning earlier this morning. No damage reported around there, but definitely some strong storms earlier in the day. The storm threat is moving southward and moving into central parts of Florida, but still for the next hour or so, there's at least some potential of a severe thunderstorm popping up across Marion County. Then we're just drying out slowly but surely as we move through the rest of the day. The clouds will linger. Temperatures are going to drop a bit as the wind starts to turn to the northwest later on into the afternoon, but the clouds probably going to hang on through the majority of the day. We might see a sprinkle or two ahead in time, but not much warming. Temperatures probably as warm as they're going to get already. We saw these 70-degree readings before the sun came up. We'll be into the 60s this afternoon and eventually getting into the 50s. Rain does wrap up, but we're not going to stay dry for very long. The rain is returning after several days break. It's going to move back over the weekend. We'll track those showers coming up.
More than 50 million people are under the threat of extreme weather across the country. WUFT's Aiden Wacksman joins us live in the studio to tell us about the hardest hit areas.
Madison, on New York's Long Island, dry conditions and high winds caused multiple brush fires to break out Saturday. Meanwhile, parts of the South brace for the possibility of flash flooding and even tornadoes. Massive flames and heavy smoke engulfed New York's Long Island as multiple brush fires exploded. Wind gusts of up to 35 miles per hour fueled the flames. The National Guard assisted, and officials say at least 2 firefighters were hurt. The governor declared a state of emergency for the county. In the southeast, at least 50 million people are under the threat for severe weather through Tuesday.
You can see very heavy pockets of rain, especially across northern Florida, southern Georgia, and even portions of South Carolina.
The greatest of the threat is impacting a large portion of the southeast, potentially causing flash floods and possible tornadoes. In the southwest, 4 million people are under red flag warnings. Dry conditions coupled with possible wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour could increase the chances of wildfires. That's your look at weather around the nation. Live in the studio, Aiden Wacksman, WUFT News.
The U.S. Agency for International Development has been gutted. Secretary of State Marco Rubio released a statement on social media saying 83% of U.S. aid will be canceled. The cuts come after a 6-week review, and Rubio said the programs that remain intact will be replaced under the State Department. U.S. aid has handed out billions of dollars worldwide every year to help combat poverty, fight diseases, and provide support to areas hit with natural disasters and famine. The Trump administration had repeatedly called for dismantling it, alleging that much of the funds were misused.
With tariffs, possible government shutdowns, and rising consumer prices, this week could be detrimental to Americans. Alice Barr has more from Washington on the critical question of a recession and how the Trump administration is responding to the claims.
2 big deadlines this week as more tariffs are set to take effect on Wednesday before Congress must pass a government funding bill by Friday, or face a government shutdown.
Could happen.
President Trump acknowledging the risk while voicing confidence in a short-term funding bill House Speaker Mike Johnson aims to bring for a vote tomorrow. It includes an increase in defense spending with cuts in other areas, but faces Republican criticism already.
The CR is terrible on defense and the border.
Even if the slim GOP majority can carry the bill through the House, it would require yes votes from some Senate Democrats, outraged over potential cuts to health care and food assistance and over DOGE cuts they argue strip away congressional authority.
Until I see some assurances that whatever we pass next week is going to ensure that the money is spent the way Congress intends, I'm going to withhold my vote until I see that.
That as President Trump was asked in a Fox News interview whether he expects a recession this year.
I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition because what we're doing is very big.
His Commerce Secretary more clear-cut.
There's going to be no recession in America.
Both defending the administration's tariff policy, with a new 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum imports into the U.S. set to kick in this week.
I think the tariffs are going to be the greatest thing we've ever done as a country.
The president arguing his sweeping tariff plans will bring back lost American factories and jobs long term as U.S. businesses and consumers brace for short-term pain. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
As the tariff threats continue on between the U.S. and Canada, a new movement in Canada has begun. NBC's Jay Gray reports from Ottawa on the Buy Canadian movement and the unknown future of the two countries' relationship.
Anxiety, frustration, even anger, brewing across Canada right now.
It's a very uneasy feeling.
With the tug-of-war over tariffs and President Trump suggesting the U.S. could absorb their country as a state.
It's having a huge ripple effect across the country. I mean, we're in limbo at the moment. It's awful. Not knowing which direction we're going with.
A ripple going into a wave of Canadian nationalism. Protests outside the U.S. Embassy. Booing the American anthem. And as the trade war intensifies, buying things made at home, or really anywhere but America.
Mexico.
Government-run stores pulling American wine and liquor from shelves. The common thread here.
A lot of people feel betrayed by our closest ally.
Emma Cochran's wildly popular hoodies, shirts, and caps providing a direct response to the political rhetoric driving a wedge between the countries.
And this felt like a way that we could participate and just kind of say, we're going to stand up for Canada.
While back at the coffee shop, one of the most requested drinks, the Americano, has a new name.
And a friend came in and said, you know, with everything going on, you should change it to Canadiano.
Served with a side of Canadian resolve and pride. Jay Gray, NBC News, Ottawa.
Local governments may have to look elsewhere for funding as discussions ramp up about the future of property taxes in Florida. Lawmakers proposed several measures asking 2026 voters to expand the homestead property tax exemption, which is a tax break lowering the amount homeowners need to pay. While a final proposal might not happen this year, a proposal could be put on the November 2026 ballot. State Representative Ryan Chamberlain hopes to eliminate this, saying Floridians should not permanently taxed on their homes.
Under the current system of property taxation, no one ever owns their property. They just lease it from the government.
Legislators estimate local revenue from property taxes totals at about $30 billion for non-school taxes and $20 billion for school taxes. Local governments heavily rely on property taxes to pay for infrastructure such as police, fire, and emergency services, leaving them to look elsewhere for the lost revenue.
Gear up and get ready for Bicycle Safety Month. The Gainesville Police Department will be putting on a series of free events surrounding riding safety. The first event will be today from 4 to 8 p.m. on Southeast 11th Street. GPD encourages all residents to stop by for free bicycle lights, helmets, and fittings. To find the full list of events, check out the Gainesville Police Department's Facebook page.
HCA North Florida is partnering with the Milk Bank program aimed to helping mothers and babies in need. They received their first donation a couple weeks ago. We brought you updates on this story since the program was first introduced. WFT's Oriana Torre tells one mom's story and what prompted her to donate.
One new mommy is helping other babies in need in a way that only a mother can help. I went to a new breast milk bank and talked with her about why she gives. A gift of love that makes all the difference.
Very scary, not, knowing if I was going to be able to produce and, be able to feed my baby.
New mommy Grace Kennedy faced a challenging start to motherhood. Her son, Bentley, was born prematurely. They spent 2 months in the NICU, and Grace's body wasn't ready for the next step, breastfeeding.
I was having to heal myself before I could even begin to, start trying to pump and produce.
Many new mothers have difficulties like Grace. In an effort to give back the love she received, Grace became the first to donate to HCA North Florida Hospital's breast milk donation program.
I got to do something to, give some kind of light at the end of the tunnel.
Nurse Parent Education Coordinator Katie Hurd is part of the new program that helps mothers like Grace.
And when a mother is facing the journey of having a baby who is born prematurely, often it takes a few days or a few weeks to establish a full breast milk supply.
The Mother's Milk Bank of Florida collects, pasteurizes, analyzes, and distributes breast milk donations to hundreds of hospitals to help medically fragile babies. Grace now has a surplus of milk, enough to fill 3 freezers.
It's kind of a full circle moment, going in, not knowing what to expect, being so scared, and then now looking back, we're able to give back.
A give back that provides a bridge of support for new mommies and their babies. HCA North Florida is the first hospital in the area to join the effort. Mother's Milk Bank of Florida has collection sites across the state. In the studio, Oriana Torre, WFT News.
The Mother's Milk Bank of Florida is still in need of more donations. To find out if you're eligible and to see all the requirements, scan the QR code on your screen to take you to a list of steps on our website, WFT.org.
Daylight savings may have lost us 1 hour, but you won't lose any time on your way to work this afternoon with these traffic conditions. Let's take a live look at our I-75 cameras to see just how smooth your commute to work will be. Traffic is moving slowly on the highway, but after stormy conditions this morning, the roads are a bit wet. UF meteorologist William Maxham has more on this week's weather conditions.
Yep, looking at I-75 right now, you can see very little in the way of rain over the interstate itself. The rain is now located just to the east side 75 around the Villages all the way up to just north of Daytona Beach. That's where the showers are now, but they're moving southward. We're going to see maybe a couple of lingering sprinkles, but that heavier rain has ended across north central Florida. But we saw quite a bit over the weekend close to I-10 areas here. Anywhere between 2 and upwards of 5 inches of rain. Most of north central Florida, more like 1 to 2 inches of rain. That is a good healthy dose. Most of that came last night into early this morning. Currently 72 in Palatka with cloudy skies at 70 in Gainesville. Temperatures not going to change very much from now through the rest of the afternoon. They'll hold nearly steady as those clouds slowly start to clear out. It's still pretty breezy. Winds are gusting out of the west at around 25 miles an hour. That wind should come down a bit later on into the afternoon and turn to the north into the evening. That's going to allow temperatures to get into the 40s in the overnight hours tonight as we clear out. This one of the weather makers for the nation this week. In the early part of the week, we have this area of low pressure moving out. Then we're turning our eyes to the west for our next one. This is going to be a weather maker moving into the center of the country. Not really going to affect us. We're actually expecting our next significant weather maker to come from the Pacific Northwest and impact us through the weekend. We'll track that in just a moment. First, let's track the low pressure area today. Moving out, we'll see a sky that gets more and more clear into the late part of the afternoon, but I think we're going to be mainly cloudy through the rest of the day. Futurecast shows that overcast sky with a couple sprinkles in the 5 o'clock hour rolling through. Headed into the evening, though, we'll see the sky beginning to break up. The clouds thinning out, and tomorrow the sun will return. Now, I mentioned there's a couple weather makers over the next few days. This one coming from the southern branch of the jet stream, going to move into the center of the country, make for some rain into Georgia and maybe North Florida, but I think we're maybe going to see a cloud from that one. It's this front here. It's going to be our weather maker for the weekend. Until then, temperatures will be rising up after a cool night tonight. So tonight we're going to get into the 40s, about 46 when the sun rises tomorrow morning with a mostly cloudy sky, but tomorrow dominated by the sun. We'll make it back above average temperatures, about 74, 75 into the afternoon. We'll keep it warm as we move through the rest of the week into the weekend. The first day of the weekend, things looking pretty good. We'll be into the 80s on Saturday, but showers likely through much of the day on Sunday. Temperatures not as warm, into the 70s for highs on Sunday. One good thing about the rain, it did bring the pollen down briefly, but it's coming back up midweek as the sunny skies do return. Those temperatures are going to max out over the weekend before we get another cold front Sunday into next Monday.
CVS is looking into growing itself by shrinking down the size of its stores. The pharmacy chain is set to test pharmacy-only stores later this year. The chain plans to open up dozen stores that are about half the size of its traditional layout, ditching the front end of the stores that normally has sold snacks, greeting cards, and other consumer staples. The smaller store is part of the chain's turnaround plans, which have included more than 1,000 store closures and thousands of layoffs. CVS is looking to adjust in an industry that some analysts say is crumbling.
Up to 70 million people in the U.S. are estimated to be living with digestive diseases, and those illnesses can significantly disrupt daily life. But there are ways to help keep your digestive system in check and help prevent diseases. Mandy Gaither explains how to have a healthy gut.
It's a critical part of health. Having a healthy gut helps with digestion, metabolism, and immunity.
When gut health is good, our overall health is also generally good as well.
Gail Krystal with Cleveland Clinic says many factors affect the gut microbiome, but one of the biggest drivers, your diet.
What the gut microbiome prefers to eat are things that we, as the host, we can't digest. And so these are things like different dietary fibers.
That includes fresh fruits and veggies, whole grains, legumes or dried beans, nuts and seeds, and fermented foods like yogurt. All help gut health, but other foods can hurt it, including foods that are highly processed, are high in fat and sugar, and low in fiber. Krystal says to avoid those foods.
If we eat foods that the healthy bacteria don't like, it's going to shift in its composition to more of an unhealthy balance.
Krystal says having a healthy lifestyle also promotes gut health. That includes getting good, adequate sleep, managing stress levels, regular exercise, and making sure you stay hydrated.
All of these things together help support gut health.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Health officials say other tips to achieve better gut health include eating slower, which may help you swallow less air and allow you to better know when you are full, having smaller meals to avoid that feeling of fullness and encourage digestion, and limiting how much you eat after dark since your gastrointestinal tract is most active in the morning and during the day.
The iconic Wendy's Frosty is about to get a makeover. The fast food chain announced in the coming months they will be rolling out new ways to customize the sweet treat. After decades of only offering 2 flavors, chocolate and vanilla, you will now have options to add in various sauces with the Frosty Swirls or choose from a variety of mix-ins with the Frosty Fusions. Wendy's is also changing their packaging, designing a new cup, lid, and blue spoon to go along with this major expansion.
It's your lucky week because Krispy Kreme just announced a new collection of donuts. Ahead of the St. Patrick's Day celebrations, Krispy Kreme is offering a green St. Patrick's Day box filled with festive treats. This includes glazed leprechaun-inspired donuts, rainbow designs, and a shamrock-filled original donut. To top it off, if you wear green on March 16th and the 17th, in stores you will receive an original glazed donut for free.
Now let's take a look at what's coming up on First at 5 at Channel 5. 1 year after McIntosh City Council seats were filled by Governor Ron DeSantis, our team reports live with an update from the council. And learning more about the Florida Museum closure starting later this month, how you could stay in touch with the museum's events. Plus, taking a look at Alachua County's child gun safety, the information you need ahead of the county's meeting tomorrow.
Before we go, let's have one last check on the weather.
Yeah, it's starting to look better after a cloudy start. The sun eventually going to come out today. We'll be seeing highs into the low 70s, 70s tomorrow as well, but skies will be much sunnier on our Tuesday. Wednesday looking great as well. The changes come over the weekend. That's when we'll see the rain coming back into the area, but that's after what's going to be a warm day Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That's when showers are back, but temperature is going to be almost at the pool levels for Saturday, mid-80s.
Thanks for joining us for WUFT Midday. We're back here tomorrow for another edition.
We'll see you later today for First at 5 on Channel 5. Have a great afternoon.